There are thrills in the illicit. You have goosebumps. You are terrified.
It just descends into absolute mayhem.
And those arms flew off. That was holy shit.
Jordan Peele obviously gets the terror along with the levity much better than anyone.
The screams that must have erupted in theaters.
Just sheer terror.
The scariest movie that's ever been made.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to this little series that we're doing. Me and wow, it's Uncle Bill this time. And Uncle Rad showed up last time. Uncle Bill is here tonight. He's the one that was advertised. Did you not get the memo last time? But you didn't come.
I'm just really glad to be here, man. This is the first time I've had a chance to do this show with you, so I'm stoked about it.
Did you didn't go back and watch the first episode that we did?
No,
all right.
No, we
So-
didn't know.
What we got today is episode 2. If you guys have been watching that new show on Shudder, 101 Scariest Movie Moments, very similar, like we talked about last time, from the 100 Scariest Movie Moments that who was it that put that out before?
Bravo,
Was
wasn't it?
Bravo, I think that's what it was. Yeah, and I did go back and start watching that because you can watch it on YouTube, and it's different, but like some things were the same. Like I think Child's Play was like in the exact same spot on that one as well. I didn't go through the whole thing there, but what we're going to talk about today is episode 2, which is numbers 88 to 76 on their list of 101 Scariest Movie Moments. Now, the last one we talked about, there was some controversial ones in there. They're still looking at this list to me. There was some that was on the end of this, like in the hundreds and 90s, that I still feel like Salem's Lot. Again, I could be biased, but I still feel like that one deserved to be lower than a lot of these that we're seeing now. And, there's
there were
a lot of more current stuff in here now.
There were some in this though that I was like, that should be way higher.
I
Like
agree.
there's not even like a. But I will say this, with the exception of one movie, like I had seen and pretty much loved like every movie on this list of this particular section. Like the last section was a lot of stuff that, some Japanese, some like other kinds of Asian stuff that I didn't know. But on this particular list, like I'm pretty familiar with all these, so it'll be interesting to talk about them.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I think that it's a lot better, and I think maybe moving forward, like after they weed out some of the lesser known, I guess kind of, some of those other types of films, that this gets a lot more interesting to see what they're going to pick, because they've really picked some scenes that I felt were like in the top 20 already. So I'm curious to see what they do.
Yeah, I agree with what's going to be coming next, because again, like I said, like you said, even in this list, there was some that you were kind of like, wow, I thought this would have been higher. Like, what else is there up there that they're going to start talking about? Before we get in, I see a bunch of people already popping in. What's up, everybody? Scott's Wrestling Collection said most of the talking heads are lame. 101 Scariest should be better with me and you. Listen, if a show wanted to do that with some people that are creators on YouTube, that'd be so killer. I'd love to do something like that. But guys, like, that's why you come here right now. Like, we're going to chat about this stuff, give you our honest opinions, not what we're paid to say or anything like that about a lot of these movies. So if you've seen the show or you haven't, I think this is really cool for us to do, because some people don't have Shudder. So for them to kind of figure out what movies were being talked about, what we think of the rankings, this is an easy way to come and check it out without having to get Shudder to watch the show.
So yeah, let's get a look at who's in the chat real quick. So we got Punisher Batman fans in here. Said watch this earlier, so he's looking forward to it. Stuntman Mark's in here. JS is in here. Good to see you, man. Saturn
What's up,
Video
man?
as always. Holland Oates as always. Good to see you. Chris Stott.
What up, Chris?
Vanderhoff's in here. Vanderhoff rules, man. Rambo's in here. Good to see you, man.
What's up, buddy?
Cinemurderum. And of course, it wouldn't be a stream if Bug-Eyed Betty wasn't in here.
Wow. All right. She was on another stream I was on today. She's here. She's killing it. She's killing it. Just watching the tube tonight.
Oh God, old Curly Jaws is in the house, so
Woo!
should be some opinions about And man, it's just still streaming apparently.
You're still streaming? She went on a 7, bro. She's been doing some long streams.
What the hell? Wait, is it Master Chaos?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, she'll be on there for a while. You better pack a lunch.
Pack a lunch.
What the fuck? You ain't getting paid?
Oh, man,
Mayor's
listen.
on here.
Listen, I wish.
Movie Junkie John and Cable Guy. I mean, there's more, but like I'm losing them in this chat because there's a lot of.
Yeah, it's cool. We'll get back to you guys and kind of run through each one we talk about. We'll kind of see what you guys have to say about it, and let's try to keep this about an hour. I think that's probably a solid time for this series. So We'll see what you guys have to say. But number 88. So we left off at 89 last time, and if you haven't, go back on my channel, Born to Be Rad, and the Dead Pit channel, and check out episode 1 if you guys haven't watched it yet to find out what was 101 to 89. So starting with 88. Now, I can see this one, especially maybe with me and you, maybe disagreeing a little bit here. I think I love this movie. I know it's probably a little bit controversial to say with some people. That's Us. And I'm a big fan of this one. Where it is, 89, I guess I'm fine with that. Again, I would like to see what else is coming, but I'm glad it was recognized. I think it is a pretty, freaky movie. And I think 89 is probably where it belongs.
Yeah, I was. I think is it 88 or 89? I think it's 88.
89, 88. Yeah. Sorry.
But I completely agree. Like when I saw that, I was like, all right, that's pretty much at the perfect spot. Now, the one thing that I didn't like about this week is it seemed like that they didn't really have like scenes because this is supposed to be the scariest moments. It just seems like now they're just kind of just throwing movies at you. So I guess like you pick the scene that you think is the most effective in these movies. But in this particular, like in the Us one, it was basically the two sides of the family. That's what they were like focusing on, which I thought it was. I love Jordan Peele. I thought he does a really great job with that particular genre of like elevated horror. Like if you're gonna watch a movie like that, and it's not going to be A24, then I think that Jordan Peele's about as good as you can get. So,
right. Yeah. Well, you know what this opened my eyes to this time around is like we're gonna get some movies that I don't think we are expecting to get because they do kind of talk about some in this list that I was like, all right, well, I'm glad they brought it up, but I wasn't really expecting it. But Us, yeah, like I know a lot of people like it's too current, but man, to me like there hasn't been many memorable mainstream horror movies in the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years probably. So I mean, Us is one that does stand out. So I think that I guess it deserves to be on here. I mean, we're talking 101 movies here, so I can see it sneaking on this list. But like it has some iconic scenes in it. Just when they first meet the family and everything, and then you figure out kind of what's going on. I mean, I think that's, even if it's a modern movie, I think that's a pretty iconic scene. Like everybody kind of recognizes that scene now. That's even seen, commercials or ads for it or anything like that. So I would put it on the list. I'm not going to disagree with it, but I would say honestly, number 87 should be way, way higher in my opinion. But I understand that it's a newer movie too, so that's probably why that it's not. But in my book, The Witch and a lot of the scenes from The Witch, I would put like much, much higher. We're talking about Robert Eggers' The Witch, which right. The Witch. Which is which? Yeah, is like to me one of the best like filmed horror movies, and also like just in terms of the detail that he put into that movie. Like, I mean, getting the accents right for the time period and trying to get, the sets right for the time period and putting that much work and effort into it. And like, I think Cable Guy mentioned on here that it just has this feeling throughout the whole movie of just something really horrible is going to happen, and it does like throughout the whole film. I love that movie though, so I'm kind of a mark for that movie. Yeah, I agree. I think The Witch deserves to be higher on this list. Again, I'm very curious to see what else is on this list because it is definitely a lot scarier of a movie than Us is, in my opinion. But going back on that other list, like I mean, you're looking at things like Child's Play. You're looking at Salem's Lot. Like a lot of, I just feel like those two movies should be ahead of some of the movies we're even seeing here.
I agree with you. I don't. There's no way in my mind I think that Salem's Lot is not ahead of those two movies that we just talked about. Like, there's just no way.
That scene is iconic. Like even like American Werewolf in London. Like I mean, it's got some comedic elements, but there's some pretty freaky scenes in that movie. And again, that was in the '90s as well. So we're getting all these movies here are ahead of Salem's Lot and Child's Play. And speaking of that, what I just grabbed was I just got it today, and I told you I was going to get it. Where the hell is it? I ended up getting this after we talked.
Oh yeah.
So this again, I haven't checked it out yet, but this has got like the American version on it and all that stuff. So I'll be excited to see it because that scene, just watching that, was freaky as hell. So definitely excited to check that out.
There's no way you'll be disappointed by that movie, though. I just think it's a classic of any time period.
Now, do you think that that story would be ahead of a lot of the movies that we're already seeing here, or do you think like Us, for instance,
I think that that image just itself, that image is so iconic, especially to that time period of horror films, that I think that it probably should be a little bit higher than that. Like I said, but it's hard to tell because I kind of feel like those two movies are going to end up being classics, like Us and The Witch. So it's hard to tell now, like what they're going to be seen as in like 20 or 30 years. So, or to know how high up on the list that they really will be at some point. So I don't know. Like people could end up, just kind of hating those movies or losing them in time. I don't know.
It definitely seems like people in the chat are not loving Us, but it does seem pretty across the board that people love The Witch. It definitely.
Well, I don't know. Old Curly Jaws didn't like it, and
I mean,
and Rambo wasn't a fan. But yeah, to get some comments on here real quick about The Witch, several people liked it, and several people just didn't seem to really love it or anything like that. Rambo says it's A24 horror blows. I don't think he's a fan of A24 horror at all.
Oh, really? I'm a big A24 fan so far. I'm actually super excited for Pearl, and I've got tickets to see it on Saturday. So I'm really excited for that. That Bodies, I think is gonna really. I'm really not gonna like that one. I haven't seen it, but that doesn't really seem up my alley. But I like Midsummer. I love Hereditary, and stuff. So, and The Witch as well.
What's up, man?
What's up, Anthony?
Glad you're liking these, yeah.
Do you want to roll us into 86? You know a lot about this one, and I'm just gonna switch headphones because these ones are dying out because I was streaming for like 2 hours.
Well, this is actually 86 is why I actually wore this shirt for the occasion. I was not expecting to see this movie on this list at all. I didn't even enter my mind that it would be on this list. But I was pleasantly surprised because 86 is Lucio Fulci's Zombie 2. And the scene that they reference, I'm like, I can't believe they're actually going to talk about this, which is the scene that everybody references from Zombie. If you're not talking about the zombie versus
can you hear
shark.
me okay?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry. If you're not talking about the zombie versus shark scene, then you're talking about the eyeball scene, which is what they mainly reference in this. And I do think that in terms of that era of kind of 80s horror films, it's an iconic movie and an iconic scene too.
Yeah, Zombie, deserves to be on here. I actually thought it would have been higher. I actually was even surprised. The part of me was you're not sure if they're going to touch upon Fulci's stuff on these kind of things, but it was good to definitely see that added to the list. But I kind of feel like it should be higher than 86.
Well, I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping that maybe they're going to have The Beyond, or maybe
I think The Beyond's definitely going to be on this for sure.
Something else of Fulci's will be on, and I guarantee you, Suspiria is going to be in the top 10.
Oh,
so
definitely.
Yeah, if it's not, then there's a game afoot, if you know what I mean. There's some sort of shenanigans.
Now, Yeah, give this a like. Again, I'm the worst at telling people to do that. Not give it a nice super kick over there, will you?
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, obviously, Zombie is pretty overall well, revered of a flick.
Yeah,
So I can see a lot of people really just being happy that that's on here.
Most people are like really putting Zombie over. Yeah, I just think it's a classic kind of like Italian horror film, and it's a classic gore film too. So whenever we get around to actually doing the goriest films of all time, or the I think that'll be up pretty high. That a lot of his films will be in that list too. And I love the idea that Fulci and Argento came around the same time and kind of like redefined the horror genre. So
yeah, I agree.
So take us in for this one pissed me off.
Yeah,
the next one.
This one needed to be. I thought this would have been way up there. I mean, dude, we're in the '80s. Like, not. And again, there's so many horror movies. Like, you're like, well, top 100. Like, if it made it in there, that's pretty good. Yeah, but man, this is The Changeling, guys. Now, The Changeling is known for like just being how spooky of a movie, and I'm very surprised that it's 86. Like, in my head, I would assume this would have been top 50 at least. I would even say top 30.
I would like. There's in my mind, this is one of the most slept on movies, like slept on horror films out there, and even to the point where I think a lot of more popular movies ripped off a lot of scenes from this movie. Like there's scenes in The Conjuring and other movies like that where they rip off the psychic scene from this movie as well, and just. If you don't know any other scene from it, then you know the ball scene that they're talking about, where the little red ball drops down the staircase. I mean, because I think they even did that in like Scary Movie. So
yes, they did.
It's iconic, and I just do not believe that it should be 86 on this list, man. Like, there's no way. I'm sorry, it's 85
movie.
On the list. Sorry.
Oh, is that what it is? Sorry, 85. Yeah, and but even like the little scenes like Joseph. It's just so memorable, and it's always known as such one of the scariest movies, like one of the scariest ghost stories of all time. So to see it this high up really kind of blew me away. So again, it goes back to what we keep saying, like what is below 80 here? Like what are we gonna get? And even some of these on this list, maybe all of them, I would say The Changeling should be ahead of, in my opinion.
I mean, I watched The Changeling not too long ago because I got the Severin, 3-disc version that's now obsolete. But
so, what the hell, man? They like, hey, buy this, you get 3 discs, get a ball, you get all the versions, and all of a sudden, like, which again, it seems like 2 years later. It could have been, for all I know, it could be 5, right? But like,
yeah,
now the 4K is coming out. It's like, buy it all again. I'm like, I'm not doing this again, even though I love the movie. There's just not enough meat on the bones from one upgraded transfer than what I have. I have a great edition with a nice slip and all this shit. So,
but I couldn't believe how good of a movie it was, just from a technical standpoint and from just a movie standpoint, not even a horror film or anything like that. Like, it's amazingly well acted, and the suspense scenes in it are great. And George C. Scott is amazing in it. Like, he gives a really, really understated performance. He's not running around the house like screaming or like panicking, and not what you would probably do in this kind of situation. He's actually playing it pretty realistic. And the song that he plays, like, I don't know if you remember that, but he's a musician. He plays, and then there's the actual soundtrack that has that song in the background, which is creepy as hell. I don't know. I just think that whole movie deserves more recognition than it gets.
Yeah, it seems like more. Uncle Bill, the mayor says, "Why you sleep in a movie? Don't you have a mattress?" I think a lot of these people in the chat, are really championing The Changeling, saying, yeah, they don't know why it's so high. I saw Old Curly Jaws said he never heard of it. Not the one with Angelina Jolie. I mean, that might be the one he likes, actually. But
I forgot that was even a fucking movie.
Now, I don't remember. Was that technically supposed to be a remake of this? Because I forget.
I don't think so. I thought that was a movie about her losing well, maybe it fucking was. It was about her losing a kid or something.
Yeah. And he lost his wife and kid. And
all I know is if it has Angelina Jolie in it and it was in the mid 2000s, it's going to suck. So let's just.
It's not the one. Yeah, it's not the one we're talking about. Now, we'll start to we'll talk about this and we'll get into the chat because we're already like halfway through the list and it's only been 20 minutes. But you can take this one because again, I know it. but I probably watched it once in my life. But I know it's iconic, and I know it's probably maybe should be higher on this list. Maybe it's in a good spot, but
Well,
what do you think on this?
the one thing I've noticed so far about this list is that they've been putting a lot of older classic monster movies really far down on this list. And
Hmm.
this is another example of that. So I don't know if over time they just lose their appeal to people, but 100% I believe that this movie should be higher up on, or this particular scene even from this movie should be higher up on the list because fuck, man. I mean, it's like I said, if you're talking about like scary and iconic moments from that particular generation, I don't know if there was a movie that had more of an impact than number 84, which is
84.
Phantom of the Opera. And we're talking about the classic Phantom, the 1925 version of Phantom of the Opera. So, and the mask scene is the scene that they reference where the mask gets knocked off and like you see his face for the first time and all that. Like that is something that every horror fan knows, even if you're like our era, probably younger era. I mean, you know of that scene and Lon Chaney and how he made the effects himself and how he got that look to come about. Like, I just feel like that's iconic, and I don't know, man.
Yeah, it is. It's iconic. I mean, that face of the Phantom, you see that face everywhere. Like it's, I remember famous monster magazines and stuff like that. You always just see that face planted on there. And this is considered a universal monster in that is it in that
I always see it as that.
realm
Yeah,
or no? To me, I always felt like it was. Um, and what was the other one? Oh, Wolfman was the one on the last list that they had on there.
yeah, yeah. Wolfman was on there, and it seems like there was something. Maybe it was a Hammer movie, a couple of Hammer movies, but just like I'm thinking they got to throw some shit like Frankenstein and stuff like that into like the top 20. There's no way that they can have that stuff be as low as like Phantom of the Opera and this other and the Wolfman.
Yeah, the
Uh,
one they had on besides Wolfman was they had the Hammer, the horror of Dracula in the '90s, which again we both said that we thought that would have been way higher, but just because of that iconic image and stuff, and that's a movie they talk about all the time with Christopher Lee.
but I mean, like I said, we don't know what they're going to put on in the next while because there's been thousands of horror movies. So I don't know what exactly that they're going to pick. I was surprised by a lot of movies on this list, but in terms of they don't seem to be looking at these movies in terms of like the effect they had on people at the era because I mean, Phantom of the Opera was one of those movies where people were passing out and like freaking. They'd never seen anything like that. So I don't know.
Yeah, so agree. We both think this should have been higher on the list. We'll go into the chat. I see a lot of cool things in there. People saying they think it's going to be higher on the list. Rainbow Raff has a good one because Rainbow Raff is checking this out because he doesn't have Shudder, I assume. So he's using this to kind of get an idea of what this list is about.
Yeah.
Which I highly recommend people to do. And if you know anybody that doesn't have Shudder and they want to know more about it, like definitely jump on here and kind of keep up with us because we're doing it the day that these things are dropping. So the judges for the list, that's the thing. It's like it's all the same people that you would see. People that work for Fangoria. You've got what's her name, the chick from the podcast there. What's that podcast that Colors of the Dark or whatever? So she's
I
on
saw.
Rebecca McKendry.
Yeah,
Uh,
I saw a lot of people that were around when we were around that kind of were like I think Heidi Martinuzzi was on there and like that Rebecca McKendry. Like
McKendry.
a lot of those people
Yeah.
have been around forever and they never
Right.
really had anything interesting to say. So I don't know. Like
So I think they've got some directors that will pop in, some actors that will pop in from some of these movies here and there, but you're getting she's considered I don't know what they would call like a horror specialist. Like what did they call Sean Clark? Like Sean Clark I haven't seen him on this, but like he should be, I guess, if these people are on it as well. But what would they?
yeah, he should. I mean, I would rather see Sean Clark on these lists.
But what didn't he have a name before? Like they called him like a horror. Remember people were busting on him about it. Like I don't know. They had a title for him in something that he was on not too long ago, and he was considered like I don't know, horror
Is he a
professional.
horror
or something.
specialist?
Yeah, something like that, a horror specialist or something.
That's-
and it had his
yeah.
name, like, there was a name for it. But who's the other dude there that, you know who I'm talking about. He's like a Fangoria guy.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
He's on-
Ryan Turek.
Ryan
Yeah.
Turek's on this. Yeah. So, it's the same people that you're usually seeing on this. A lot of people that work for Fangoria, in some aspect, people that are working for Blumhouse. So you're seeing a lot of these people on here. Like, you remember the guy? I don't even know who this
Somebody
guy
said-
is.
Horror strategist.
Horror strategist. Yeah. I mean, maybe. Horror enthusiast.
Horror enthusiast. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind. Like, Sean Clark belongs on this. I'm surprised he's not on it. Maybe he shows up later down the road. I'm not sure. But, who's the guy? Remember the guy that was always on these lists back in the day that, like, I think Wes used to always bust on him and be like,
yeah.
who is this guy? He was on, like, the Friday the 13th one. He's kind of a heavy set guy, very charismatic. Like,
Well, there was Uncle Creepy.
I don't know if it was him, was it?
He was from Dread Central. He used to be on all this stuff. But then there was the guy Hysteria Lives that used to like do all of the commentaries on like all the extras.
I just remember this guy with a beard. He was kind of heavy set, and he was always like, "Yeah." So anyway, and I'm always like, "Who is this?" I've never seen this dude anywhere, and he was always on all these like lists and documentaries and stuff. I don't remember who he was.
I swear, I think it's Steve Barton, which is Uncle Creepy. That must be.
I can.
Or Harry Knowles. Harry Knowles is the guy from Ain't It Cool News. I don't think you're thinking of him though.
Steve Barton. I haven't seen this dude in a while. That's why I didn't know where he ended up going to. No. Wait. What was he? Who does Steve Barton working for?
He was working for Dread Central. Just go under Uncle Creepy and maybe like Dread Central, and a picture will pop up. I'm sure.
Let's see. No, not him. Not him.
Okay.
No. I'm trying to see if I can find this dude's name, but yeah, not that guy. But it's the same people that we always see on these things, which is cool. But I don't know. A part of me always wonders like if they're telling the truth or if like these lists are kind of swayed based on like who's talking about them, right? Like if Blumhouse is heavily involved here, does that kind of change what people are saying about these movies? Like that's what I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing like John Squires on some of these things. Like that dude been around for so long. He's writing for like Bloody Disgusting. Like why is he's never on these little panels here?
I did wonder about that too though. Like where are they getting these people? Why are they getting them? And like who is responsible for the list? Is it just like a bunch of bullshit that like some executive
I think maybe some people are saying it's Jeff Katz. Let me just see. What was he working for? Jeff Katz, New Line. They said. Let's see if it's the guy.
How the hell can
Yes,
he know?
it is this dude.
Is that
Jeff Katz? Like look up him and you'll remember the dude from New Line, Jeff Katz. He was on all that stuff, and I never knew who the heck this dude was. He was everywhere at that time.
We need Stanley Weader from Dark Dreamers to be on this show. That'd be so killer.
Was Mick Garris on this yet?
Yes.
Okay,
he was on this particular one, yeah.
Okay.
Because he was getting ready to talk about the next movie. He talked about the next movie that's on this list, actually.
Jeff Katz is the one. Yeah, everybody remembers him. Yeah. I don't know what happened to him. I guess when New Line maybe he just got dumped off. Horrorologist. But let's talk about 83 because I'm a huge fan of this movie, and I know you are too. And if we're really talking about scariest movie moments, like in my opinion, this should be way higher.
I love this movie too.
I can understand, like, to me, I'm kind of like, oh, I'm glad it got praised, right? Like, I'm like, oh, all right, good. I'm glad people are actually talking about it because you never really hear about it. But man, The Brood, guys, Cronenberg, like, this is one of my favorite Cronenberg movies, and it's just such an uneasy, weird movie. And to me, like, if we're talking about scary movie moments, like, this no doubt should be higher on this list because there's some stuff in this movie that like is really hard to watch.
The little fucking ferret kids, little kids that look like ferrets running around, like just killing everybody. Yeah, the first time I watched that movie, I was like, I don't know what to make out of this. And then like over time, like it's become like one of my favorites because it's just such a crazy concept that your anger and rage can be like transformed into actual things and people and stuff like that. And that's such a cool idea. And then in this movie, like they're this little brood of kids that are running around attacking, and I will never forget that little kindergarten scene where they just walk in and like start to attack the teacher and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and then the end scene, which was referenced in this too, was referenced in the scariest moments. Like that's an uncomfortable scene to watch.
Oh yeah.
Too.
Again, I'm glad the Brood was brought up. I mean, man, it doesn't ever really get talked about, but there's some really cool editions out there. Like I have this Anchor Bay edition that's like a double. It's like a thick box. It came from like the UK or something like that. It was a really cool set. And then Criterion came out with one, so it was good to kind of see the Brood getting some love, especially on this list. But man, it deserves to be way higher on the list. And people asked if Eli Roth was here. I haven't seen Eli Roth yet.
Thank
so
God I haven't seen.
You wonder why though. You wonder like, is there a reason that he's not included in this? Because
He probably has some sort of like deal with one of those channels where he can't like. He's got to do their horror stuff, or I don't know, something like that. Because if not, I feel like he would be in.
Jay Reel, bro.
Jay Reel,
Look at him.
He's
throwing
killing
up
it.
the gun, dude. I love it. Yeah, the Brood's crazy, and I see Rambo said he hasn't seen the Brood. He doesn't think, and I think it's one he should definitely check out for sure.
Yeah. Jim Power said he rented it and it kind of fucked him up for a few days. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those movies that has the potential to do that for sure. Like The Brood, and we were talking, I don't know if you remember, we were talking about this in the last show about what Cronenberg movies might make the list, and I don't remember, one of us brought it up, but I really didn't think, I thought it would be Scanners for sure.
Scanners is coming, no doubt. I mean, it's definitely going to be on here, and so won't Videodrome probably.
And maybe The Fly. I mean, the Fly remake, and like so. But I don't know. The Brood was kind of in the back of my mind, so I feel like that's a pretty deep cut, really, for a show.
Yeah,
like
so that's why I'm not sure. Like in my head, I'm like, Brood should be higher, but again, we have to see what else is going to be on this list. But like I said, at the same time, I'm glad that it's being recognized. So maybe where it is fine, but I don't know. I guess it remains to be seen.
AMC's owned by Shudder, so I did not realize that. So there you go. I mean, he should be on it, but he's a busy man making a ghost decimated my car or something. So
what's up, Jerry?
Moving on to 82, though.
I don't have this. I know the name, but I don't think I've ever seen this.
I've never seen this. I've seen the cover. I've never seen the movie. Like I said, there's a period of time where we went through a plethora of Asian films. I just didn't want to watch anymore. And that was around the time this movie came out. But 82 is A Tale of Two Sisters. I'm sure there's some people on here that have seen it. It's a Asian ghost film. I just do not give a shit about Asian ghost films. Like, that's one subgenre I just do not care about.
Yeah, it's not one that I'm really, itching to watch all of them. I did go through a period of time where I liked, and I know this is going to be on the list, like I was a fan of The Ring, and I was the fan of The Grudge, and even the remakes that came to the United States, like I was fine with them. I actually really liked both of them quite a bit. And I know they just kept going more and more, but I haven't dug deep into this genre of Asian cinema. So Tale of Two Sisters is not something I think I've ever seen, but let us know in the chat, like, it's here. It's above The Brood. It's above Salem's Lot. It's above Black Sabbath. It's above The Witch. It's above Zombie. It's above Changeling. Like, where do you guys feel that this thing falls?
And even the scene that they showed on there, I was like, who gives a shit? There's like 1,000 of those Asian ghost films that do something like that in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it should not. There's no way it should be above all those movies.
And I hate saying this. It's how I feel, but you wonder if, like, when these big companies do lists like this, especially nowadays, is that they have to follow some kind of format with, like, oh well, we haven't put an Asian movie in a bit, so let's throw it in here. You want it to be as biased as non-biased as possible, but you wonder if they're like looking to make sure they're filling gaps somewhere. And I'm just curious because, again, maybe this deserves to be in here. I'm not saying it's not good. It's probably a good movie. I'm just curious to see, is it good enough to be, above some of these other movies? And heck, maybe it is. I'm not one to say.
I mean, for me, it's not going to be though, because I just don't like those slow burn kind of Asian horror films. I'm sure there are people that love that kind of stuff, but I just never could really get into it. And there's, if you like that, there's a whole era of those movies. And somebody mentioned Audition, which should probably be higher than.
I think it's going to
Yeah.
because we talked about this last week, and when I watched the 100 scariest movies from Bravo, which I think was 10 years ago now, I absolutely loved that countdown, and that's where I found out about a lot of movies that I had never seen before, which maybe I should do here as well. But Audition was one that was really high on the list, and I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen this movie. And I ran out and bought the DVD right away, and it's remained one of those movies that I find to be such a scary, freaky, uncomfortable movie. So I think it's definitely going to be on this list because it was very high on that other list about 10 years ago. And maybe I should go back and watch like Tale of Two Sisters. The problem is now is back then I feel like I was always looking for the next thing. And now I'm looking like what, I don't want to, there's too much now. Like I feel like I don't need another movie to have to go check out, So I don't know if I'll ever get to it, but curious what you guys say. What's up, Vinny?
Suspirian Nights in here too. We got a
Yeah,
lot
I
of people coming in. There must be a stream that ended or something.
Well, yeah, I was a part of a stream that I bounced on that just ended probably within like 2 minutes ago. So people could be kind of chiming over from there.
So let's keep it going though. For those people that are in here and that are new in here, tap the like button. You gotta encircle the like button and tap it, and then hit a bell. I believe there's a bell that's involved, and then something else. Yeah, you gotta put a figure 4 lock on a notification. Do a bunch of that shit. Let's keep it going though, because this next one's one of my personal favorites. It's another Italian one too.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Number 81,
which is Lamberto Bava's Demonia or Demons.
Demons. Yeah, that's a great one.
This film, probably more so than any of those Fulci films, when I was a kid, freaked me the fuck out because there's just so much like gratuitous violence, and it's really aggressive too. Like, I mean, when shit starts to happen, like there's no slow parts in between where you're having like character development. Like it just goes from like one mutilation to the next mutilation to the next, and it's a crazy film. I mean, all the way through.
Yeah, I love Demons. I'm a fan of Demons 2 as well. A part of me wonders, is Demons 2 going to even be on this list if Demons 1 is here? Because I feel like, I don't know, what do you think? Demons is probably a bigger title than Demons 2, right?
Oh, yeah.
So does Demons 2 probably doesn't make the list, I'm thinking, but such a great one. It's fun as hell. It's creepy. It's just a cool movie. Always a fan of that one, and I'm kind of happy where it is. But like I said, I guess it remains to be seen what else we've got coming.
I mean, to me, that's like up there. Even though like that's the only film that people really know from Umberto Bava. Like that's right up there with Zombie and like, some of the Argento films from the 80s and stuff too. Plus it's got a killer soundtrack that is just, full of punk, and like it's got metal and punk and stuff like that in it. I love the design of I like the fact that it's not a zombie movie too. Like it's probably the first like running infected person kind of style movie like that. That's not, like a zombie movie. So
now it's very similar to that zombie style back then, where it was just like a lot of zombies running around. And do you think that because they were different than zombies that they went with the title Demons?
I think so. I think they were just trying to find a different angle to not keep doing the same shit.
Right.
But I don't know. So let's see what people are saying about it though. This is an interesting comment. I don't know what it means. Uncle should write instruction manuals after the set of directions.
For what? Probably hitting the like button. I don't know.
That's yeah. So yeah, completely sit on the like button, by the way.
I think someone said in here they liked The Grudge and The Grudge 2, the American versions. I did too, and I think that you're going to see these in this list higher up, though. I really do.
I do too. Raised on Fiction says Demons is great. Soundtrack is sick, and it was hilarious. It is too. Stuntman says both Demons movies are fun, but he likes the first one more. I think the second one is like it's like Home Alone and Home Alone 2. Like the first one is superior, I think, but they're both like they both have a good vibe. They're both pretty much the same type of film, and I like both of them.
So it moves us down to number 80 on this list, which to me, should it be recognized? Sure. I've only seen this once. I thought it was a pretty cool movie, but I mean, it wasn't something that I was like, I need to go back and watch this. Maybe I should. Maybe keeping this in the 80s is fine, but I think that there's a lot of movies, even ones we talked about today, that, in my opinion, should probably be ahead of this, just due to the classic nature of a lot of these things. And this is Dr. Sleep, which came out. What's up, Don Morton? Which came out. Again, I suck with dates. What, 2 years ago, maybe?
I don't know, man. 2019, maybe. I honestly don't know. But I'll be honest with you about this movie. It really surprised me because I was fully 100% expecting it to suck. And because, like, who makes a fucking sequel to The Shining? You know what I mean? Like, you just automatically think that's going to be awful. But I really, really like this movie. And I thought that a lot of, especially, who is it? Ewan McGregor did like an amazing job in it. The little girl does an amazing job in it. And the scene that they referenced did actually stick with me. Like the first time I saw it, I was like, holy shit. Like they're really like hardcore with this. You just don't expect to see scenes like that in modern horror films.
No, not at all. It did surprise me as well. And I think being a parent now, like certain things hit me different than than before. Like that scene of the little kid getting stabbed and stuff. Like,
yeah, man,
that does hit you a little bit different. I think, especially when you have little ones and stuff like that. So I do think that this movie was good. I mean, I think it probably deserves to be where it is. I think my biggest issue is that there are still a lot more that are above this that I think maybe should have been just a little bit underneath it. But yeah, I agree. I had zero expectations with Dr. Sleep. Like I almost didn't even watch it until I heard people talking great things about it. And I was like, I'll buy the Steelbook because it just came out, and I was surprised.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that they enjoyed it. Like, it seems to be going over pretty well. Suspiria's got a good point, though. But, it's great. But is it higher than Salem's Lot and the Witch?
I don't think so personally. But you know what someone else said is like, he said Flanagan did a good job. Like, that's the thing. We always praise Mike Flanagan on here, with, I still think that his best work, in my opinion, is Midnight Mass.
Me too. I agree.
And, I doubt we're going to see that on here just because I don't even think it's considered a movie technically, but more of a series. But I mean, I think he does a great job. I think everything he's done, in my opinion, like even Gerald's Game and stuff, like those were really enjoyable in my opinion.
Yeah, Gerald's Game was great. Like that's another one where I was like, oh my God, it's a fucking Netflix movie. Like, it's going to be crap. And you watch it and you're like, it really has somebody behind it that kind of knows what they're doing.
Now, does anybody know if Flanagan is currently working on something now? Because I think with his track record right now, it's like he's up there with like some of the best modern horror directors.
So Dennis Weaver's Missing Tooth wants to thank me for recommending Antichrist to the church youth group. No problem, man. Are they here? They're here. We must have summoned them.
Oh boy, who brought him in?
The slut bots. Let's go ahead and block that. All right. Hush. I loved Hush too. I forgot that he did that movie. Yeah. Yep. That was another great film. Okay, so everybody's kind of mixed on that one on Dr. Sleep, but pretty much most people agree with the next one. Number 79 is the original, the OG Candyman. And I think that listen, I've never been a huge fan of Candyman. Like, it's a good movie. It's got a great soundtrack. It's got like one of the best soundtracks, piano piece soundtracks that I've heard. But it's just, I don't know. It seems like it was a very low budget film, and it just has a look to it that I've never really cared for. But it has iconic scenes in it, so I'm fine with it being 79. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Kind of the same. I like Candyman. I don't love Candyman. I wasn't a huge fan of the series. I like the original one a lot. But again, for me, it's I think it's in a good spot. Do I think this is? It's hard to say. Like, do I think this should be ahead of Child's Play? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're using as their criteria.
Metric.
You know, like
I think it's kind of off the books. I don't think there's an official selection process to this. There maybe should be, but yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with Candyman being here. My only concern is, does the remake end up higher on this list? Because a part of me feels like they may touch upon that movie, even though I wasn't a big fan of it. But I'm like, yeah, I just feel like it's something that we're going to see later on this list, which we shouldn't, but I feel like we might. Like maybe they'll show the guy's skin with all the holes in it or something, you know, and I don't know. I just think that we may see that higher on this list, which would be craziness if it was ahead of the original.
You really think that? You really think that?
I don't know, man. I think it goes back to what I said before, where I think like some of these lists might have a little bit of like criteria that they want to fall on, and it's a current movie, and
yeah, you're right. It will be interesting to see like what route they take with what they put in the top, like 30 or 40. So just to see, like, I mean, is this going to be one of those kind of lame, just spirit of the day kind of lists, or is it going to be one of that's actually kind of faithful to the whole century, like last century of horror film? We got a super chat though. Lepke Vision writes in and says, "I know this won't be on the list, but the opening scene from the original Stepfather should be." That is a great scene. Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Cody's always down and hooks it up, man. You're the man, dude. You know what though? I think Stepfather will be on this list. I think Stepfather will be on this list somewhere. I would put it on this list if we were talking about 100 horror movies. Wait, who am I here? Like, I think
that particular line and the delivery of that line is where he literally like just forgets like what kind of role he's in and just has to like, yeah.
Who am I here? Yeah, I love that.
And the fact that movie's based on a true story too about a guy that actually did that is insane. Where he just killed his whole family and then just assumed another identity somewhere else. But anyway, Candyman. There's some iconic scenes in Candyman, though. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a classic. I think that like kind of what it stands for and all that stuff. It was different for the time, and I like it. I just don't. I'm not a huge Candyman guy. And you know what? I'll even go on the limb, and we're not talking about this, but this movie will be. These movies, or at least one of them, will be on this list later. And I know a lot of people are talking about Hellraiser right now because it's coming out and everybody's excited. I like the original Hellraiser. 2 and 3. I like 3 because it's different. 2 to me is okay, but I never was the biggest Hellraiser fan. So for me, like this new movie, like does nothing for me. So I see people posting about it and getting really excited for it, which is cool. Like, hey, we're getting a new horror movie, cool. But like, man, it's gonna take a lot for me to even watch this thing. I mean, unless I don't even know where it's coming out. Is it theaters? Are we getting it for free on TV? Like, maybe I'll watch it, but I really have zero expectations, and I'm really interested in like why the hype is so high for this, because with the track record of Hellraiser, like I think it just shouldn't be at this point. But again, I don't know if it's because they're taking a different route or whatever, but like I don't know, I kind of feel like that's the same for me with Candyman. Like it's a popular franchise that I'm not really a big super fan of.
Was it you that was talking about this last time, or maybe it was CK? I can't remember, but somebody had mentioned that the real star of Hellraiser, the real reason why that movie is so effective, was not Pinhead. It was actually it was the girl, and it was the father, like and Frank and all that stuff that went into it. So once you lose all those parts of it, and then you go to where it's just like everything, the focus on everything is just Pinhead, and he's trying to be like Michael Myers or Jason or whatever. Like you just don't give a shit after it because they're not bringing they haven't brought anything new to that series since the second film. I don't think so.
Yeah, just the atmosphere on a lot of those movies just didn't. I didn't care. I don't care for what is it called, the underworld or whatever. Like what is that called? That other dimension, wherever he's like. I don't care about a lot of the stuff that goes on there. Like I liked Hellraiser in 3 because he was kind of like a Freddy Krueger. He was out in like the real world kind of thing. And part 1 to me is a great movie, and it's just so much different than the rest of the series, in my opinion. But I saw Rambo said, if you want my opinion, go to the roundtable. I haven't watched that roundtable yet. I think what I was doing,
it might have been Rambo that said that. Yeah.
It might have been. Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch that because I watched like a little of it, but I was really building off that Rad Pack episode, so I was doing a lot of stuff for that, so I didn't get to check it. But yeah, I know we're not talking about Hellraiser, but I just figured I'd bring that up because I kind of feel the same way about Candyman. Like the first one, I like. I'm not a super fan of it, but it's decent enough. So I think where it is probably where it should stay. Now this next one, what's it?
Doug.
I'm a big fan of number 78. And if it was my list, this would be higher.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, this is another one where it's like, you could be any kind of film fan and you know this scene. Like, so it should be much higher, man. There's no doubt.
And that's the remake of, what's up, Brandon? He was in the stream I was just in earlier. What's up, dude? This one, number 78, is the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but like what was it, 80s or late 70s? It's like
70s. I think it was 78? Like 78, yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay, so I love this movie a lot, and I think this is a really freaky movie. I think there's a lot of scenes in this that are just very uneasy, and I would have put this way above 78. What do you think, man?
Me too. Like, I mean, first of all, it's one of the few movies besides the Star Trek movies that has Leonard Nimoy in it. Secondly, it's got like an amazing performance in it by Donald Sutherland. It's got like Veronica Cartwright's awesome in it. Everything in that movie is just like perfect. It's like pitch perfect, like the acting and the direction, and like it's a drama really. And I just couldn't believe it. And especially the scene that they talk about is the scene towards the end of the movie. It's like, how do you not put that scene in like the top 50 at least? Like, everybody knows that. There's cartoons and stuff that have parodied it. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, and I think this one is the one everybody thinks about. There's been a lot of Body Snatcher movies, and plus the original one, which everybody loves, but I think this is the one that everybody really remembers. And my brother is a horror fan, but I can remember when he was really getting into horror. He's a little bit younger than me. I showed him this movie, and he came out of his room, whatever. I was like, "How'd you like it?" He's like, "Oh, it was kind of weird." And like when you say something like that, it like kind of affected him a little bit. Like,
yeah.
Did you like it? Like, oh, it was weird. Like, then he didn't sleep for 3 days probably. But yeah, man, this is a great movie. If you guys haven't seen the 78 Invasion of Body Snatchers, definitely check it out. And I'm very surprised it's in the 70s, to be quite honest.
I am too. Like, I mean, and I watched it not too long ago because didn't Scream Factory release it again or something? Like,
they did, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was even more impressed with it on rewatching it than I was when I'd seen it a long time ago. So, I don't know, man. It's another one that should be way higher.
I think Kino might have came out with a 4K or something maybe recently.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think they did. Yeah.
But I have the Scream Factory one. Yeah, man, it's really good. It's really, really good.
I tell you one thing though, right, for certain though. A lot of people are going to lose their shit over this next one being this low. If they don't like put something else because we don't know that yet still, if they're going to go back and do the same movie twice, like for different scenes. I suspect that they're not now because basically they're just talking about the whole movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, but number 77 is The Evil Dead. Which is
I think when it comes to a scary standpoint, in my opinion, this out of the main three is the most scary, I think. The other ones are cool, but I think this has a lot more of like horror elements to it, which Evil Dead 2 is going to be above this, and Army of Darkness is going to be ahead of this. They're not going to leave Army of Darkness off the list.
No, I don't think so. I don't think they will.
But I don't think Army of Darkness deserves to be ahead of this. I mean, it's a cool movie, but
if they put Army of Darkness on this list ahead, though, they can't call it the scariest movies, though.
That's what I'm saying. That's why
there's no way.
It's a better movie, but it's not a scarier movie at all. I also think that, and again, I'm fine with this, but I think the Evil Dead remake is going to probably be higher on this list.
It probably will. You're probably right. And that's kind of fucked up. I mean, I like the Evil Dead remake,
yeah,
but it's a remake. I mean, it's just taking the same concept and replaying it over again. I just think people have forgotten like what it was like because I watched the Evil Dead like early on. You know, maybe not in the '80s for sure, but like
Right.
what it was like to see that movie. You know, at that time period, and like have never seen anything really like that. In terms of scary, that was about as scary as it fucking got around that time. So I don't understand that pick at
Yeah.
all.
Now, again, I didn't see. I got big into like I had a lot of transition. Like so, from the '80s and early '90s, there was a lot of things that I was into, which people would say were gateway horror movies. A lot of the horror movies I was watching was straight off the TV when they would do like movies around Halloween. So I would see like cut versions or whatever. Um, Evil Dead was one of the first VHS tapes that I remember buying with my own money, and I can remember putting that in. I was probably 15, 16 maybe, and it scared the hell out of me, man. And I was like, I held that VHS like I was holding gold at the time, like that and Texas Chainsaw. I thought I was holding like, don't let my parents see these. Like I thought this was like the real deal. And I can remember letting my buddy borrow it and his mom finding it and smashing it. And then I was so pissed because I was like, what? Like your mom smashed it? He's like, yeah, she didn't want it in the house. So I was like,
So that's how
pissed.
you,
Yeah, so then I remember like getting so mad and upset, and then I remember telling my mom like, "Yeah, Mrs. So and so smashed my tape," and then so she called her, and the lady's like, "I don't want that in the house, but I'll buy him another one," and she bought me Evil Dead 2, and thought that was the same one, but again, that was my first introduction to Evil Dead 2 as well. But anyhow, yeah, again, I know the chat is not going to be happy with this.
no, it's not good. It's not good at all.
Evil Dead, the classic, at number 77 on this list. And just what comes ahead of it at 76, which is the last one we're going to talk about today, is cool, but does not deserve to be above the Evil Dead, in my opinion.
I will go further and say it doesn't deserve to be above The Changeling. It doesn't deserve to be above The Phantom of the Opera. It doesn't
Salem's
deserve
Lot.
to be above Salem's Lot, Demons, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There's a lot of them that I don't think that this because it's number one. It's a remake, but also like the very first scene in the movie is really the only like great scene in the film. Like after that, like it just kind of slowly fucking deteriorates. I mean, I think so anyway. There's not a lot of memorable stuff unless you include like a horrible CGI zombie baby as being like memorable, but in the film. But yeah,
We're
76.
talking number 76, which is the last movie we're going to talk about on episode 2, and that's the Dawn of the Dead remake that made it to number 76, which again, I'm a fan of the movie. I don't think I'm as big of a fan as a lot of other people are. Seeing it in the theaters, I thought it was really cool at the time, but I'm just more into like the classic stuff, like from the 80s. And Dawn of the Dead, I'll give props to. Cool movie. I mean, it's nowhere near the original. I don't think it deserves to be above the Evil Dead. And you're right. I see people in the chat saying Evil Dead 2 is better. Evil Dead 2 is a better movie. I will agree with you on that. But I think from a horror standpoint, Evil Dead 1, the original, was just so grimy and it had a lot of cool effects for the time, considering it was so low budget. I just think part 2 was like an upgraded version with a little bit more, comedic elements to this. So
I like it. I like it better just personally as a whole film, but I can see where like the first Evil Dead is an actual horror film, like it's a scary film. Like it's not meant to be like that comedic, whereas like the second one is just like kind of balls to the wall comedy and slapstick and stuff like that.
yeah, so I can see Wes in the chat. He is not happy about this Dawn of the Dead being above the Evil Dead thing. Now,
Look at this. Yeah, I mean,
they need to go. Oh, yeah.
he's right. Like honestly, if you look at the Dawn of the Dead remake, which I like, it's fine or whatever. Like I'm not one of those people that just absolutely shits on it. But if you look at it, the opening scene and the credit sequence are the best parts of that movie. And then from there, it kind of just doesn't work for me as much as like those early parts. So the fact that they put that above like the Evil Dead and Invasion of the Body Snatchers and Change, Nah. It's like Hogan. That don't work for me, bro.
Yeah,
That
it
work for
worked
me,
for me,
brother.
brother. I agree. Now, that was kind of the list that we went through, and I know everybody's kind of jumping in. So, what is up, everybody in the chat? Especially if you chimed in before we, after we started. So, if you want to go back and watch the replay, it's not that long of a stream. And if you haven't watched part one, definitely go check that out. We did that last week. We're going to be running this every Wednesday through the whole series, so you guys can kind of find out exactly what this list is. And yeah, again, I don't know who is writing this list.
And Mick Horror brings up what we were talking about earlier. I don't know. They're supposed to be going by like scariest movie moments by the title of the show, but they seem to be going by just films because a lot of times they don't reference one particular moment. They just like talk about the whole movie. So I'm confused by that
like
too.
some they do and some they don't. Like we were talking about, case in point, American Werewolf in London was like number 90 or something. And the scene that they talk about is not the scene that you would assume they would talk about, because everybody talks about the transformation scene. They talked about the dream sequence, which again is a scary scene. But then we were wondering if we're going to see the transformation scene like way up later on this list. But it doesn't look like they're going to do the same movie twice, which is interesting enough considering it's called Scariest Movie Moments, not movies. But maybe they will. I don't know. We just haven't got to a double yet.
True. Cyberpunk brings up a good point. We should do like a show called The Real 101 Scariest Movie Moments.
Well, that you know what I will say, this must be hard, man, because I can't even imagine doing a list like this. Like there's something going around YouTube right now where people are doing like the alphabet, right? Like their favorite movie that begins with the letter A, their favorite. Dude, I don't even want to get involved in that because I'm like, that would to me it sounds like a nightmare, because I don't even, none of my stuff is alphabetized, right? So like, I don't even know how I would go about to do that. I don't know.
I in general don't like listing things like that. I mean, I'll do it if in a pinch, but because those lists change all the time.
Right.
But some of this shit is common sense. Like some of it to me is like the Evil Dead should not be like that low. Like there's just no way it shouldn't be.
Right, like what's in the 60s? You know what I mean? Like what is ahead of Evil Dead? And again, like I said, we know Army of Darkness is going to be ahead of Evil Dead. There's no way they're going to leave this off the list. But I think Evil Dead obviously is deserves to be above Army of Darkness, no doubt.
So what are you thinking about? So I guess what will the next be from 75 to probably 60 or something?
Yeah.
What do you got any ideas? You got any future predictions like Nick Vitale used to do in the?
I just don't know. Like where they're like, if these are just random or what, because I'm thinking of movies that I like, but like to me, I'm like, I bet we see Phantasm next. Like to me, I would put that way ahead, but I just have a feeling like, what are some they haven't talked about that would probably be on this list? And I think Phantasm probably would be something that we might see next.
I wonder. Here's the thing I've been wondering, and tell me if you thought about this yet. Are they going to go into like sequels? Because that's something I haven't really seen them. For instance, are they going to do like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, or are they going to do like anything related to any of those like franchise?
I think
sequels?
they probably will. But that'll be interesting too, because like what is it going to be like every 10 is going to be another Friday the 13th. I don't know. And you know what else I'm curious about too? Like I'm sure we're going to probably see Texas Chainsaw, the remake. Like I'm sure we're going to see that.
Fuck,
I hope we don't see that. I hope we don't see that new Texas Chainsaw though.
If they, if they put something like that on there, like that, it'd be fun to talk about anyway. I mean, it kind of ruins the validity of the list, but I could see them do it.
Descent. I could see the Descent being somewhere pretty close to where we are now, thrown in that list as like one of the more.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing too. Like, is Cabin Fever gonna pop up down the road? Like
there will be an Eli Roth film in this fucking list.
Oh, Hostel's gonna be on here, no doubt.
Yeah.
Hostel will definitely be on here, but I don't know. Like, does Cabin Fever make the list? Like that? And hey, I don't hate Cabin Fever. I actually love Cabin Fever, but I don't think it deserves to be a lot ahead of a lot of these movies we've already talked about. I think Cabin Fever has some pretty creepy moments, like the girl in the shed with her face is all off, the shaving of of the legs. Like there's some scenes in that I find pretty gnarly. So I don't know, but gang, like what do you guys think? And what I'll do right now is I'll run through the list from beginning to end that we talked about this week. Definitely go check out the one if you haven't that we did last week, and then we'll finish off by just scrolling through the chat and see what you guys are saying. So we started out at number 88, which was Us. 87, which was The Witch. 86, which was Zombie. 85, The Changeling. 84, Phantom of the Opera. 83, The Brood. 82, Tale of Two Sisters. 81, Demons. 80, Doctor Sleep. 79, Candyman. 78, Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978. 77, the original Evil Dead. And 76, the Dawn of the Dead remake. So those are the list that we talked about today moving down. So remember, the ones that we talked about last that get down on the list are the ones that are considered the better ones. So, yeah, let's see what you guys... Can't believe a remake will make it. Yeah, sure. I think Wrong Turn will probably be on this list.
Sorry. There's a dude that just said he was a fan of Hostel, so I blocked him for 5 minutes. I can't condone that. I can't condone that type of activity. He can come back later.
I think we'll see High Tension on this list. I think we'll see High Tension on here.
You think?
I think so. I mean, I think that's a deep cut, but I think that we'll probably catch it. Yeah.
So here's what I'm going to say. Like, I don't think we'll see that many franchise films. For instance, like, I think you'll see Nightmare on Elm Street probably in the top 25, I hope. I think you'll see, Texas Chainsaw's got to be in the top 10. What do you think?
I mean, you would think so. Rainbow Wrath actually has a good list. I think all these are going to be on here, brother. Like, no doubt.
Psycho, yeah.
Rosemary's Baby, that's going to be way up there. Way up there, I think.
Yeah, because they're going to love to talk about that kind of shit.
But again, we said this last time, and what I would say to you is go on YouTube and look up Bravo's 100 scary movie moments, because I watched a little of it, and some of it's the same and some of it's different. But I think what you're going to see on that list is probably more or less what you're going to see as we go with the same type of movies. But obviously now we've got all these current ones that didn't exist back in, I think, 2000 and whenever that came out, 6 or something. I don't know when that one came out, but I think Black Christmas will be up there for sure.
Psycho shower scene. I forgot about this one. This will definitely be in there.
Scream will be in there.
Could be in the top 10. I could see that.
You think Shining's one? I don't remember what was one on that Bravo list. I think
maybe CK's right. I would probably go with that. If you're talking about scariest movies, like scariest movie moments, I would go with The Exorcist.
Actually, you know what? I do think Exorcist was number 1 on that Bravo list, I believe.
I just don't see another movie that's especially for its time, that's scary.
Wes, you remember Jeff Katz?
Silence of the Lambs. I love Silence of the Lambs, but
that'll be on there, way up there.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be number 1.
I think you'll see like 7. I think will be up there. I think you'll see Saw will be in there somewhere.
Jaws. See, I just don't think of Jaws in the same way as these other movies. Do you?
It'll be on there. It'll be way up there for sure.
So I don't know. God,
you do remember that guy?
Yeah.
We were talking about him earlier. How he used to be on all the documentaries and no one knew who the heck he was. But yeah, guys. So like I said, we wanted to keep this around an hour, make it an easy listen. Especially for people that have checked it out or haven't checked it out, to kind of get our thoughts and opinions on it. As you see, the list is interesting. It's kind of the Wild West right now, because we're still at that top 20, towards the end of the list, which again, anything on the top 100, I think is worth probably checking out if you haven't seen it. But it's just interesting to kind of see where these are falling. And the more we start to move down the list to number 1, I'm curious to see, like, are these that we're talking about deserving to be higher on this list based on what we're going to get. But yeah, so UB, do you have anything coming up this week I'm trying to think what our schedules look like now.
Yes. So, Jesus Christ, I can't keep all this stuff straight, but I know
Chucky tomorrow.
Is Chucky tomorrow or Friday?
I thought it was Thursday.
Oh God, it's probably Thursday. Hold on, I'll check. Because like I said, I cannot keep this shit straight in my head anymore. I want to give you all the accurate information of like where we're at with it. So. And my phone died. Of course it would.
All right, so I think tomorrow night, and Wes is in here. Oh, it's Friday. I'm sorry. Friday night is going to be Child's Play 2 commentary. For me, I'm going to be on other channels for a little bit. I do have 2 Rad Pack episodes coming in October. I know we're also talking about stuff for October as well. We're just going to secure some dates. So guys, we talked about this last time. We're going to do Goriest movies,
which I think would be great.
And we're going to do some stuff for Halloween 3 coming up this month. Definitely those 2 are in the works right now. And trying to think what else. I think, obviously we're going to do our Vinegar Syndrome show, which we're going to do. I don't know the date on that. Is that a September one? Maybe if Wes is in here, he'll know.
Yeah,
the halfway to Black Friday or whatever, one of those kind of sales or something. So yeah, guys, so we have a lot of stuff coming, especially October. October is going to be busy on both channels, and we'll do a lot of stuff together. So make sure you are subbed to Born to Be Rad and Dead Pit to make sure you guys are ready to be here live for those shows, because you know how it is, man. October is busy.
So I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to do a Hocus Pocus commentary with CK and you.
Okay.
Because I know that he hates that movie, so I think it would be interesting. It would be like,
Oh, I would love to do Hocus Pocus. I mean, I'm not the biggest Hocus Pocus fan. I'm actually kind of in the middle with that one. I'm interested in the new one just because, if you guys don't know, you haven't been following my channel, a lot of it was filmed like really close to my house, and I was able to go to like to the filming locations while they were filming it. So I would love to see how it ended up turning out and those places that are right near my house. But yeah, I'm kind of indifferent with Hocus Pocus. Like, I'm in the middle. Like, I like it, but I'm not a fanatic like a lot of people are. So to rewatch it, especially with you guys, would be cool. And I definitely want to push hard to get that X-Files straight.
Oh yeah. So I think it was Stuntman Mark that brought that up today too. And it was like, we really need to do that show because there's a lot of people that really, really like that show. And I think, like I said, it's my favorite TV show of all time. Once you get into a show like that much, you kind of like have a pretty good working knowledge of all the episodes. So I think it would be cool to just do some sort of X-Files themed show. We could talk about several of the episodes or one of the episodes or do a commentary, whatever we do. But yeah, I feel like it's way overdue.
Yeah, and Wes made a thumbnail for it, so I know he was working on it. I think we're going to do the first episode is going to be the home, and I don't think Wes has never seen the show, so that's more important. Why? Because UB and I are big fans of it growing up. So to have him see it for the first time, I think would be really cool. And he's saying in here, Friday 13th 4K looks insane. I can't believe it. Are you serious? Because I didn't buy that because I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to purchase this now because I feel like they're going to do another edition later. So are you serious with this? Is it that much of a difference, or are you just busting balls? I see other people chiming in on something. What would I see?
I think he looks like he's been serious, but I don't know. Who gives a shit, man?
I could do a Horror's Hallowed Grounds for Hocus Pocus too. But if you go back on my channel, like I did a filming location tour while they were filming. So it's way back. It's probably like a year ago now. But yeah, I don't know.
He says the transfer looks great. I don't know.
Really? Somebody said Piz says it looks dark. A lot of the 4Ks are looking dark. I actually thought the Funhouse looked a little bit dark on some scenes when I watched it. I haven't watched The Fog yet. But yeah, you guys know I love Friday the 13th. I love the original movie, but what happened last time? I bought the Halloween 4K, and then within like 3 months...
shit, Garrett, check it out.
Oh, baby.
Got a $20 super chat. So he says,
good thing we stayed on here.
The Man 0776 says, so I just bought something like Day to Night from Scream Factory, and I was looking at the extra features, and I saw you guys have an interview there. How did that come about? Something like, do what? So I just bought something like day.
What is what movie from Scream Factory is Dead Pit on?
So I just bought something like Day Tonight from Scream Factory, and I was looking at these, so you guys. What? Okay, CK, you're gonna have to translate this because I'm not sure. Something like data. Can you make that out, Garrett? Like what movie he's referencing?
No, I don't know. What commentaries did you guys do that Scream Factory put out?
Did we ever do anything that commentary that Scream Factory put out?
I mean, you guys are on the disc for Vinegar Syndrome. Which movie did you do? Oh, Madman for them. But what is Silent Night, Deadly Night?
Oh, Silent Night, Deadly Night. Oh, frig, yeah, that's what he means.
Oh yeah. He must be using Scariest or
Jesus.
something like that.
Yeah, man, there's a whole story behind that is kind of sad and hilarious at the same time. So, wasn't a commentary though, was it? It was an interview that we did with the director and Chuck Selye, and he passed away not too long after we did that interview, and then, well, there's a whole other story about it too. We ended up like getting into some trouble with Silent Night, Deadly Night. That's probably best left untouched.
Did you guys get in trouble? Nah,
yeah, it never really happened. But I think that interview may have been like one of the last ones that he did, and that's probably why they included it in that. I'd actually forgotten all about that, man, until right now. But yeah, he was actually a guy that I had written to, and when we were doing the just wrote through the mail to him about the movie, and he sent me like that big box edition and signed it and everything. And then after that, we just had his address and everything, and probably were able to figure out like a way to get in contact with him. It was at his house that we did the interview, and I think that was it. Just sent it into Scream Factory back. I think that would have been back when Scream Factory, we didn't say we're going to shit in their boxes and stuff.
that's when you guys were on good terms.
Yeah.
So Wes said that 101 Films actually gave you credit on the release. So this is just kind of buried in the features. It's not listed on the back. I don't know. I have it over here. I can go check it.
That figures, yeah. But for those people that we're on the Madman Vinegar Syndrome, and we are featured on that, so at least check that out.
But yeah, guys, let me know about that damn Friday the 13th, because I wasn't planning on buying it, but because man, I love my box set. I'm fine with it, but if I buy this and then all of a sudden like more stuff comes out in a box, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm just tired of continuing upgrading and this, that, and this. Like I want this to be the final time I'm gonna buy these things. So I'm probably going to pass on it. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with us.
Super chat.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for the super chats. It means a lot. And guys, like tune in every Wednesday. I think we're gonna try to do this at 10 for the next couple weeks until this thing is over. So come along with us and tell us your thoughts and opinions on this 101 scariest movie moments. And this is Garrett at Born to Be Rad, and like always, stay rad and
stay creepy as fuck. Over at deadpit.com. I was hoping you'd do that.
Give us the thumbs up.
Up your butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do.
I want you to. I don't care. Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
For this video officially, it's Oh Curly Jaws has a message for you. Go on over to shop.deadpit.com and go look at their Teen Public store right now. You've got some new shirts like the Oh Curly Jaws official t-shirt, which is brutal and badass. You got the Yummy Gummy shirt with the captain himself on the shirt. You got Uncle Bill's face on a fucking shirt. You got the Final Girl shirt. You got all these shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Get them before they're all out, especially the new one, Bedtime 1039. It doesn't get better than that, so go on out. Check out these shirts at shop.deadpit.com. Go look at their Team Public store. You're going to have a good old time. Get them all!
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Pit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.